This is a great big glaciated valley here. What all of these mountains are attempting to do, they're all attempting to erode down with constant sort of rain, and all that gravels and material that actually come down into the valley bottom gets into the rivers ultimately. So when we're talking about rivers in this landscape, we're talking about water in the river, but we're also talking about gravels. Indeed, when you look at this valley, and this is the wettest, place in England, it almost gets 4 meters of rain. Where's the river? So here we are standing in the infant River Derwent. This is the river that travels through the land at Thorneythwaite and onwards down to Derwent Water. It's actually more of a drainage channel to get the water away from the farmland as fast as possible. So it's certainly not natural. That has lots of consequences. First off, when the water comes down here, because it's so narrow, it travels enormously fast. And that could cause all sorts of issues such as flooding. The other thing that this river does is that it moves all of this stuff, these rocks and gravels, down through the system and ends up in communities like Grange down here, where it just builds and piles up, and that could cause all sorts of issues such as flooding. This is a profile of the valley bottom. The river is actually perched. What that means is that in a dry summer here, when the water levels are very low, all the water from here will actually drain out to the valley bottom. So this becomes a dry riverbed. So no water, no fish, no birds. Is there any way that we can perhaps sort of think about that river maybe being over here in the valley bottom, where ultimately it would run all year round? So here we are, just a few miles downstream from where we were talking before, and the river looks very, very different. And where you've got stable rocks and structure like this, you're going to have lots of refuge for fish. It's got moss on there, you're going to get invertebrates, so it's quite a stable river system just at this point. When we're looking at Thorneythwaite and we're looking at what we can potentially sort of do there, we have this sort of thing potentially in mind. Ultimately, it's a choice. Do we have a natural river, or do we continue with an artificial river? Basically a drainage culvert.